you know.
Pretty much.
Let's see what their first item is.
It's dangerous to go alone. See ya.
Uncle doesn't practice what he preaches.
Now these guys are getting bombs right out of the gate.
Wow.
That seems pretty good, Jet, right?
Yeah, they don't even have to think about farming. 3 bombs is enough to get halfway through Kakariko Village, and of course opening the room and escape. They should hopefully find bombs before they reach the end of Kakariko Village, so they shouldn't really think about farming. But, you know, they could decide to get a couple extra just in case.
Yeah, I imagine they won't be farming too much. Both of these players have performed really well in SRL races that I've seen in the past leading up to this tournament, and just in the tournament so far in general. They have pretty darn good times, so I expect these guys to make some big plays and to try to go as fast as they can.
I mean, you can already see they just skipped the Green Knights. They don't care about farming those. I mean, you don't really want to farm those if you don't have to. They take 2 hits with the Fighter Sword. Apparently someone placed their money on you. You're not even racing. You're just gonna win.
Maybe they mean Alu Seed. We'll go with that.
So, yeah, with 3 bombs, they could also decide to throw bombs at the ball and chain guy, you know, just for alternate strats to mix things up. I don't recommend it, but who knows?
Yeah, you don't want to be without bombs once you get to Kakariko Village, generally, because otherwise that can slow you down. You'll have to go buy some, and that can eat into your rupee count. See a nice map here early on. Beautiful.
Get that egg roll out of the way. So no rupees yet. They only have 1 from the bush, so... Yeah, you really want to get a feel if you're going to get about 100 rupees for the bottle vendor. It's ideal to get it out of the way when you first get to Kakariko Village. Otherwise, you're going to have to remember in the back of your head, oh, I didn't check this guy. And of course, there's always the question, does Zora have something good? And that's 500 rupees. So either way, our runners will be preparing for that so they can make the decision later on. More bombs, more bombs.
Yeah, and you'll notice that there's like a kind of a gold bomb there with a +5. That's a bomb capacity upgrade. So they'll only get 1 bomb for now, but their max bomb capacity has been increased by 5. You'll see the same thing for arrows.
So 4 bombs is enough to check escape and the 3 bombable locations in Kakariko Village. Now, if the race game also has something, they would need another bomb for that. But by the time you get to Kakariko Village, as we mentioned, you could also go buy bombs. But they're pretty well set. I don't think they're going to have any issues this seed with that.
gamercal, getting a little low on health, decides to go for the 2-pot strat. I don't blame him. You don't want to die here towards the end of escape before getting Zelda. Otherwise, you have to trek all the way back here, and it is a bit of a time loss. So good call on his part.
Yeah, take a couple extra seconds just so you don't have to repeat this.
But everything should be pretty set here in their routing up until we get out of the sanctuary. They're going to pick up a bunch of items here along the way. There's 4 more items for them to collect here in the escape, +1 in the sanctuary. And then we should, especially since they have a key already, so all of these will be items.
Right.
And then we may see some route deviation from these players, depending on if they want to go to Kakariko or head up to the Lost Woods or the Woodcutter item, or perhaps even go south. We've seen a lot of players save and quit and go south of Link's house.
So, you very rarely see any kind of deviation right after escape. I mean, obviously you're not going to see any deviation in escape itself. There's only one way you can go. There's a chance that our runners could decide to go to the Moldorm Cave, which is 5 items. I have seen it. I mean, Vitor just last night, he decided to head right to Eastern because he had the bow and it was a crystal dungeon. So his first call right away, go to Eastern. And that was actually a pretty good call because it ended up being the Moon Pearl for him. But you never, depending on what items they can escape, they can make a very quick call to deviate their route. But going to Kakariko is, I still think, a solid play overall. There's just so many items.
I don't really think there's a wrong decision necessarily because, I mean, that's what Randomizer is all about, is about making calculated risks and, you know, trying to work with what you have to make the best decision possible.
I think that's just part of the fun. I enjoy playing the randos because it's a mini puzzle each time I play. I have to decide what can I access, how can I progress the fastest, and it's a lot of fun.
So we're gonna see 3 more items here in the escape. We got some money, and we got a little bit of love.
Wild opting to use his extra bomb, which is an interesting choice. He still has 3 for Kakariko, but I'm not sure if I would do that with only 4 bombs.
Does save him a little bit of time here in the escape, that's for sure. He's gonna have a really good escape time.
Oh yeah, sub 6. Always good to see a sub 6 escape.
gamercal is hot on his heels too.
So I would like to remind chat that if we miss anything on the tracker, just feel free to speak up. We'll update it. 3 pendants. Oh, I thought you were saying there's 3 pendants at the pedestal, not that are needed for the pedestal.
I mean, I
Like
guess when you activate the pedestal, the 3 pendants gonna come out of there. So, interestingly, Wild is deciding not to check the Lumberjack Cave and the Lost Woods. That's a fair decision. He's gonna head straight to Kakariko and try to get some value there. There's a lot of chests in this area.
Now, I know from playing against Wild frequently that he used to do this route that he's performing now, where he will skip the Lost Woods area and go right to Village. I know for the tournament he's been mixing it up. Sometimes he'll head up there to check it out, and sometimes he'll just go right to the Village. gamercal getting a cache of bombs from pulling the tree, which is nice. He's well set.
Yeah, that's a fantastic pickup from gamercal. Really like the tree pull strats. That can really just set you up to have all the bombs you need.
So the logging hut, what do they call it? The anxiety tree. It only has a bomb capacity upgrade, so it's questionable if Aghanim will be killed this run. It's still a chance that they'll need to kill Aghanim to get to Dark World, depending on what they pick up. Or if, like, Moon Pearl's there. Red Tunic, which gamercal says yes to.
I don't blame him. You only have 3 hearts right now. It's nice to get that awesome mail upgrade.
Yeah. It will actually pay off. Him not, like, any runner not dying in a dungeon. I mean, you're not going to beat the dungeon if you're dead, so.
We do have a bee in a bottle for Wild here.
And that actually means, given his money, he can check everything in the village right now. Cane of Burna, I don't know how I feel about that. Usually I'm just annoyed that it takes up space in my inventory, but it does technically unlock the Spike Cave if they don't get Cape. That's right, shoutouts to B-Tour. Alright, so gamercal just taking a look at Steve's hut here. Also going to grab the bottle eventually once he heads to the well.
Got a piece of heart at Sick Kids, so that bottle didn't really pay off. I mean, it's good to have those hearts early, though, so... I mean, these guys don't have a lot of health. It makes them feel a lot more comfortable when they do have those extra hearts.
And more importantly, they don't have to think about coming back to the village just to grab an item.
Right.
So the blue cane has a larger startup cost than the cape. However, it's more efficient in mana usage when you just leave it on. And of course, it does lag the screen a little bit. Was that the magic boomerang on top of the
I believe it was. Oh. And we do get a glimpse at the map here. Crystals 5 and 6 in Eastern Palace and Desert, respectively. And we do have a pendant in Tower of Hera.
So I'm going to update the tracker now. So Wild going for the race game. I didn't see what it was because I was glancing away.
I think he just decided to go in without checking it.
Well, he doesn't have much, so maybe he's hoping for something here. It's Bamos.
That's a pretty nice pickup because that does help you get into Ice Palace later on if you're missing the Fire Rod. And it's just nice to just get it out of the way. I think most players would pick that up anyways.
Yeah, there's
go back
also a
and get it.
chance it'll be access. It'll be the pendant to get into Turtle Rock or Mire.
Right.
Okay, red boomerang was there. So Wild opting for the save and quit in order to get to the south portion of the map. It's a little faster, I think, than just walking over.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to be heading and sweeping south here to the dam, possibly to Agnes Cave if he wants to trek over to Desert, but he won't be able to get into Desert Palace or get the item on the ledge, but he can peek at it, which is interesting.
That has helped me before, just taking a peek on the desert ledge and knowing it was something I needed. I feel like getting information, like looking into the logging hut, any item that you see on a ledge, getting that information early on helps because that can help you decide your route and what you need to do later on. gamercal taking a very quick look at the library. They do scan that really quick. As soon as they see it's not something they want, they're out of there.
Yeah, you really just have to focus your eyes on that one shelf. It's not going to randomize which shelf it's on, although that would be pretty interesting.
Interesting. Wild going out of his way to pick up the 20 rupees.
Well, these guys aren't very rich right now, and if Zora is required, that'll definitely help them out.
Yep. Every little bit that saves them from farming later is good.
So Wild is coming up on the mini Moldorm cave. This has usually a bit of value in it. 5 items available.
And they don't have anything to help them progress on the map yet. So I have a good feeling about this cave.
Definitely. gamercal grabbing Bombos and saving and quitting. We see a lot of love, or lots of little bits of love.
I was so wrong. A bottle? Wow. So their choices are very limited. There's the desert cave. There's the ice rod cave. Those are only just single items. And of course, where I now think the value is Eastern.
Right, and Sahasrarla's hut on the way could certainly yield some value as well.
That was a disappointing cave. That just means all the items are going to be in Hype Cave later. I'm just saying these things to jinx it. That's my goal here. It's looking like an Alu seed. I don't see any marks of the Jet seed yet.
Not yet. Not yet. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. Still have a fair number of items to check. But what is also interesting is I believe both of these players are very familiar with the fake flippers minor glitch, which is allowed in this tournament where they can actually swim in the water and actually check out a few items. So we might see Wild doing that. We see him heading out of the Ice Rod Cave and heading south to where you can pull off this glitch very easily.
So here's the question. If you're in the runner's situation that they're in now, would you fake flippers?
It could be a big payout since there's a lot of outstanding items. There's not a lot of progression items. This could really help put one of them ahead, in this case, Wild. You also do get to peek at what item is here in Lake Hylia, so definitely not a bad idea. I imagine he's going to the Hobo since he can't afford Zora, and he wouldn't be able to get the item kind of sitting on the ledge there at Zora either. So I think this is a good play. You know, might as well knock it out. You don't have to come back and do this later.
This could make or break a run. I've seen some good things from the friend on the bridge here. I want to quickly explain fake flippers for those who aren't familiar. You can see that both Wild and gamercal don't have flippers yet. Wow, boots! That is a payout!
Huge payoff for Wild here with the Pegasus boots. We'll see if gamercal decides to make the same decision, because that could work in his favor. Now remember, gamercal, while it looks like he's a little bit behind, he has checked the Lumberjack Cave and the Lost Woods, so he does have that red mail. So there has been a little bit of deviation of routes here.
So yeah, real quick, fake flippers is when you can sort of trick the game into thinking that you have flippers, even though you don't. It's done by jumping into the water and then doing a screen transition, like the frame after or something like that. And that puts Link in the water. But if you take any damage while you do that, you basically die. So that's not good. And it looks like gamercal is going to also head on over to do fake flippers, which is a nice payout because it's boots. And Wild heading up north to go take a look at the logging hut, he sees that he doesn't really have progression So he's gonna go take a quick look. Maybe the items were there that he skipped.
Gets
And
the nice
with
bomb
boots.
cache as well, which he was running a little bit low on bombs, so it was a good call.
Yeah. And both of our runners pretty much doing the same route. You'll see it'll equalize since gamercal's already been up to this Lost Woods area. They're going to be very close to each other after gamercal and Wild are done.
What's also interesting about doing the fake flippers here and gaining an awesome item like the Pegasus boots is that it could clue them in to that flippers will be available somewhere at some point, and that will enable getting those Pegasus boots. So they might even be able to deduce where flippers are based on this, and flippers could be required if Swamp Palace is required in the seed.
Here we go. The synchronized save and quit. You can see they're pretty much at the exact same area, and they might both. It looks like gamercal's going to take a look at the Bonk Rock maybe, but Wild heading down the desert since, I mean, he doesn't have a way to get into Desert Palace unless he happens to luck into getting the book.
Right, he can check one item here in Agana's Cave, so, I mean, this could be a pretty big payoff. I mean, this is an out-of-the-way item that a lot of players may not check first. A lot of players will tend to go to Eastern Palace, but if, the bow is somewhere over here, then that could be big.
Oh, hook shot on the ledge. So Wild's going to be keeping an eye out for that book so he can pick up that hook shot soon. So I did have a request in chat. A Stoops Jet Seed is when all of the items are pretty much right up front in a row. You don't have to go searching for them. You can just collect it and be in go mode very quickly. That is a Stoops Jet Seed. It's just because when I generate a seed, those are the ones I tend to make. It's just completely random by accident that happens. So gamercal at Eastern taking a look behind Sahasrahla, hoping to find that progression item. They don't even have a way of getting to Aghanim at this point. So it looks
gamercal
like
did find a shovel here, so looks like he's going to try to dig up some dreams, and Wild is hot on his tail as well.
that could either lead to a troll or it could be the thing gamercal needs to progress. Oh, did we not mark boots? Yeah. Let's see if it pays off.
Now, there is still the option to go into Eastern Palace, but it looks like Wild has decided also to cash in on that shovel since he has saved and quit.
So the only difference in route so far, look at the shovel dash by gamercal. With a book! Guess what he's gonna go get?
Oh, man. I think both of these players are on a great path to getting that hook shot, but immediately, the hook shot doesn't provide immediate advantage.
No, because they have no way of accessing Death Mountain, which is where you would put the hook shot to use. So maybe there'll be something else good. It is a crystal dungeon. If they can get a source of fire in desert, they'd be able to beat it right away.
Right, or maybe they will find some lift upgrade or a flute to help them get to Death Mountain, where they can use that hook shot to the best of their abilities. I mean, like, the hook shot is really good at Death Mountain. That's really where it shines, and obviously in Swamp Palace, but definitely in Death Mountain for huge value. Jet always says, if you have the ability to go check Death Mountain, go check Death Mountain.
Yes. 8 items on the right-hand side just in Light World. 6 more in Dark World. There's gonna be worth up there. There's only been, like, I could have sworn a very small handful of seeds where there's been nothing up there. Wild also performing the shovel dash for swag.
I'm liking the swag from both of these players.
So there are 2 unique items in Desert Palace itself, one of which could be at the boss, but if it's not, both of our runners could clean up Desert Palace and just, come back later and fight the boss. Yeah, I don't think he went into the cave at Desert just yet. He'll probably do it afterwards.
Yeah, unless there's both a lift upgrade and a fire source here in Desert, then they're not going to be able to complete it because they need a lift upgrade and a fire source to get it to the end of this. So it's pretty unlikely, especially after finding 100 rupees and the butter sword.
All right, so They have the butter sword. Wild's about to pick his up. gamercal gonna head on over to get the hook shot. Now here's the question. There's still 3 items in Eastern that they could check. In your position, if you were in their position, I should say, do you just go do Aghanim right away at the chance that this is where the seed is leading them, or do you risk taking a look at Eastern?
I kind of like the Eastern play here, because there are 3 items in Eastern, and they do have the boots, so they can get through that place really quickly. And Hookshot also helps them get through it pretty quickly, so they'll have to pick that up. So I think it's going to help them with some easy traversal.
Now, I do think Eastern is probably the longest Light World dungeon to check.
Agreed.
Yeah. And we have Hookshot for gamercal. Unfortunately, no way of getting up to Death Mountain, so he can't really put that to use.
So gamercal is checking Aghanis Cave. Wild did this earlier, so these guys are going to be pretty much at the same exact point.
Oh, we might see this in sync. Like, Wild should be saving quitting right now, and gamercal's going to save and quit right now. Oh, man. They are neck and neck.
Now the question is, where are they going? Where are they going to go to?
All right, so Wild making the Eastern play. Let's see if gamercal does the same. No, he's going to do the Aghanim. One of these runners is making the correct call.
Well, it's possible that both of them are making the correct call.
It's true.
Because there could be value in both places, in theory. We'll just have to see.
So I will have to point out that gamercal is he's going to be doing this whole dungeon, which is not necessarily required, but it's just to check 1 item. However, the way the items have been hinting, it could be a logical choice. Like, this is where the randomizer wants them to go to open the map up. The item at the Lumberjacks was just a pop upgrade.
And without the Moon Pearl, they won't be able to actually make any progress other than collecting the 1 item on the pyramid. So if that is the Moon Pearl, then that's going to give gamercal a good advantage in the Dark World. But, I mean, this could pay off for Wild here, too. If the Moon Pearl is in here, this might save him some time once he gets to the pyramid.
Although, interestingly enough, if it's Moon Pearl that gamercal finds, it doesn't really unlock anything for him just yet, except for Palace of Darkness. So I will want to point out that on Wild's side, since he's going through Eastern, there's 3 unique chests, one of which could items, I should say, 3 unique item locations, one of which could be at the boss. So if it is, that means Wild has the ability to get at least 2 items here.
Right, you do need the bow in order to defeat, or at least to get to Armos Knights.
So far, Wild not getting much value. gamercal has gotten through the dark rooms. He's pretty much almost at Aghanim now. It's not that long of a dungeon. And his Butter Sword, of course, makes really quick work.
Right. So it looks like Wild did pick up map and compass, so he's only going to get 2 items in here.
That's a guarantee that the boss is holding one of the items. So unless Wild gets something in this next room, he's going to have to go kill Aghanim.
Well, I don't think he picked up the big chest quite yet.
Well, that's
where... No, that was compass. Never mind.
Yeah.
Wait, what was the other item he got? I must have missed
it. He got big key, map, and he also picked up, I think, bombs.
Oh, bombs. Okay.
First chest or something.
I must have missed that.
So if you get the Moon Pearl as the bunny link, you actually your sprite says the same, but you can now like dash and swing your sword. Eventually, if you jump off a ledge or something, you'll revert. Now, Wild does not get anything of value in Eastern, so it looks like killing Aghanim was the correct play. And gamercal should be getting something valuable on the pyramid.
No, interesting. Wild is thinking about doing something else. No, he's going to Aghanim. He has decided that that is his play. There is a play for fake flippers into Zora after farming rupees. That's the only other thing I can think of at this point. But that would be very time-consuming, and I think the logic wouldn't point you in that direction. The logic points you to the pyramid.
There's definitely something of value on the pyramid. If it's some kind of upgrade, that would be great for gamercal because that means he can make his way up to Death Mountain and put that hookshot to use.
It would be really interesting if it's the flippers.
But no, that can't, because then it doesn't.
Yeah,
oh
it means
no, it
Zora
unlocks
would be
It unlocks
required.
Zora.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice. If it is flippers, that means fake flippers would be a double win for this seed. All right, well, let's see what gamercal picks up. The flute, which is good. That unlocks the mountain.
That's an awesome item for mobility and definitely getting to Death Mountain where there's a treasure trove of items to collect. So gamercal will have access to all of those things pretty soon.
Neat.
And if he does get the bow up there, then he's only going to have to make one visit to Eastern Palace.
I mean, the flute itself only unlocks that one location. There's nothing else you can really do with the flute aside from be a little faster. At least until they get the Moon Pearl and the Titan's Mitts.
Right. Then they can go to Warp 6, which does unlock Misery Mire area.
Alright, so gamercal's going to make his way up to Death Mountain after he flutes here. There's 3 items he can get. There's 2 items he can get. One that he can see on the left-hand side, and 8 items on the right-hand side that he could access.
Right, and there has to be something that gives them progress up on Death Mountain at this point, because there's really just nowhere else for them to go.
I feel like more often than not, I get Moon Pearl up at Death Mountain.
Well, there's a lot of items there, as you say, and so it can be a nice payout.
So the one interesting thing you have to do when you flute up to Death Mountain is you have to go backwards through the cave in order to grab the old man, pull him back to his house so he can give you his item, and activate the warp point to get back there from save and quit.
Wild has been flying through Aghanim's Tower while gamercal has been starting to make his way up Death Mountain here, so he is not far behind.
So neither of our runners have the lantern. In the light world, even though you're lacking the lantern, you still get that. You still have a source of light in the dungeons. It's only in Dark World where you would get a completely dark map.
Right, there are some interesting kind of different modes that you can play the randomizer in. One of which is called open mode. If you decide to play open mode, where basically you don't start with a sword and you have to go around and find it and you have to make do without one, then all the light world dark areas are dark until you find the lamp. But we're not doing that in this tournament.
So up on Spectacle Rock, we had the bug net. You need the mirror to access that item if either of our runners want that. And inside of Spectacle Rock was a fairy bottle, which is not really useful. It doesn't unlock anything, but it could save your life. But it looks like gamercal decided to skip on that. Wild is about to pick up his flute, and he'll also be making his way up to Death Mountain shortly.
Let's see what Death Mountain holds for gamercal here.
This is where the good stuff is. Hype Mountain. That's the new name for this place.
The fourth, the bottle, and magic powder.
Wow, they already know or have all the bottles. Nothing but junk the rest of the way. So powder itself doesn't unlock anything. They need hammer if they want to put the powder to use. So this seat's being sort of a... Oh, there's Titan Mitts. There it is. And then and the bag glove right next to it.
The Power Glove, the Titan's Mitts, and the Moon Pearl all in a row. Sweet pickups there.
Alright, so now the world is mostly open to gamercal. Since he has the Moon Pearl and Titan Mitts, he can go pretty much to anywhere in Dark World. He can't do anything that requires mirror. And a couple of places that require hammer, of course.
Right. So, interestingly, Tower of Hera is blocked off right now, but there are a number of items that gamercal can still check here. He can do Spiral Cave like he's doing right now, and then he can head to the Dark World Death Mountain and pick up a bunch of items there. I believe there are 6 items he can check. And if he does find the mirror, then he'll have access to a lot more.
Now, ideally, he'll go and do the Dark World Death Mount while he's up here. 6 items.
Right.
And he has the hook shot, which is what you need to actually get to the items. And Titan Mitts. And Moon Pearl. You know, typical stuff. Oh, okay, we have a look at the map, and I saw Turtle Rock and Skull Woods were pendant dungeons.
Now that's really interesting, because it might mean that Fire Rod is not required for the seed, especially since they have Bombos to get into Ice Palace.
Just gonna mark those as crystals so we know.
But in theory, those dungeons could still be required. You know, with Turtle Rock being, I believe, the red pendant, and Skullwoods being the green pendant. You know, green pendant leads to Sahasrara. All 3 pendants lead to that Master Sword pedestal. You never know what could happen.
And it's actually questionable if either of our runners will eventually go there. With Skull Woods being a pendant, if they get the items they need to keep exploring, they might not get a chance to go through Skull Woods and, you know, do the dungeon and scope out what the Master Sword pedestal is. So we might not know for a while if it's actually required. Alright, so gamercal going through Hookshot Cave while Wild picks up his powder and soon to get the Worth upstairs.
Finally, some love for gamercal here with a full heart. These guys have been sitting at pretty low hearts. They've been getting mostly pieces of heart.
The runners don't need the Master Sword. There's a random item that can be at the Master Sword pedestal, because you can get any of the swords in any item location on the map. So there is a random item at Master Sword pedestal. There's always a small chance that it could actually be required to beat the game. Oh, while just missing the bomb jump. You have to be like right on the edge, I think. I just was practicing it last night, and I'm not sure about the full details. I just go for it.
So gamercal has left Death Mountain. There's really not much else for him to do there. Checking out the King's Grave, the King's Tomb, find some bombs, pieces out, and I imagine that he is heading towards the Village of Outcasts from here.
Oh, so Wild also did get Titan's Mitts and Moon Pearl.
Meyer. I like this decision.
He can get 2 items, and he can also look to see what the medallion is right away. So it's not a bad call. 2 very quick items.
Yeah, this is a solid decision. It is Bombos.
Race game was needed. Oh, can I mark that? No. And a mirror shield sitting over here, and another sword. But since gamercal does have the butter sword already, he doesn't get an upgrade.
This is Uncle's lost stash right here. Sword and a shield. Sitting right next to each other.
Interesting. So, you know, gamercal already has the mirror shield, butter sword, red mail. Not too many hearts, but otherwise pretty much ready.
Awesome equipment, awesome gear.
Alright, so Wild making his way up to Hookshot Cave after he checks out the Super Bunny chests. gamercal making his way through the Village of Outcasts, where there's a lot of items.
And a lot of love, apparently. That's pretty good. It's nice to find these full hearts just along the way. You don't have to feel so worried later on. I mean, he does have the Cane of Burna, which helps a bit, but, you know, it's just comfortable to have a few extra hearts here.
I think Wild likes to call that the Cane of Bernie. Not the Brian Cane, Cane of Bernie. That's a Super Metroid joke. Community, whatever. Inside jokes, they work, right?
So Wild is looking at the map here. We know that Crystals 5 and 6 are actually in the Light World, and Bombos is required for both Turtle Rock and Misery Mire, interestingly. So if Turtle Rock is required, all they need is the red cane to enter it, in theory. They don't even necessarily need the Fire Rod.
So I want to point out that gamercal just picked up the Cane of Samaria. Considering they will both have Bombos and Cane of Samaria, and they're still missing some items, there's a chance that Turtle Rock has something of worth.
Definitely. I mean, they're missing the bow. Bow could be at Master Sword pedestal here, I believe.
Tarahara. Yeah, it could be. You don't need bow for Turtle Rock.
Don't need bow for Turtle Rock, Skull Woods, or Tower Hera. That's the dream, guys.
Yeah, it's likely they would need Fire Rod to progress through Turtle Rock, so chances are Fire Rod won't be there. But there could be anything in that first chest on the left-hand side, because you can access that just with Cane of Samaria when you enter in Turtle Rock. And if it's a small key, you can technically continue throughout the dungeon to at least go to the second floor.
Right, exactly.
Okay, Wild also heading into Mire, scoping out that Bombos is needed.
Yeah, these guys are making very similar decisions, but Wild is slightly behind right now.
Number Plate also making a point. The mirror could be a pedestal. If they get the hammer elsewhere, there's a way to access Tower Hera, and the other two dungeons don't require mirror. So there's a few things that could be on the pedestal at this point.
Definitely. Man, a mirror on the pedestal sounds pretty rough for these guys.
Oh, imagine.
Mirror is such a nice item for dungeon traversal and just checking a bunch of items on the map. Like you'll probably end up forgetting which places you haven't checked just because you don't have the mirror and your route can suffer from it.
Now, I will point out that it's a slim chance for any of these items to be at the Master Sword pedestal, so I don't want to get chat's hopes up by saying, hey, something could be there. I'm more hopeful that there's a trolley item in Turtle Rock. So gamercal making his way through Thieves. That's right. And Wild also just getting the Village of Outcasts. He's going to check out the items here. Maybe he'll also go into Thieves Town right away.
It's definitely a dungeon that they can complete right now, so I definitely think that Wild is going to go for it. And here he goes.
I mean, the only thing they can't get is hammer. They're missing the hammer, so they can't get the hammer pegs, which is where the big chest is. But if there's nothing in there, it doesn't matter. Green rupee down by the maiden.
Quality. Now I saw Wild pick up the compass here. I'm not sure if gamercal already got the map or not. So if we see a map at blind, then we know for sure that there's an item in the big chest. And that could be really important. Oh, there's the map. Yeah, there is an item there.
So, yeah, Ice Rod is only required to beat Trinex, the boss of Turtle Rock. There have been many seeds where Ice Rod is in Turtle Rock itself. So it can place it there, no problem. Alright, gamercal killed off blind, gets his first crystal, and a red rupee for his trouble.
Wild is again hot on his heels, but slightly behind. But he has done some Eastern Palace traversal, so his revisit to Eastern will be quick. So keep that in mind as well.
Yeah, that should equalize it a little bit. You can see how close our runners are at this point. Both having pretty much the same items, just one crystal down that Wild's going to get shortly. Okay, visit to Alec Baldwin, as Cross likes to say, because he looks like Alec Baldwin in Beetlejuice.
Let's see if this digging game yields some results. Lots of pieces of heart flying everywhere.
Yep. Don't even bother picking that up. Just run along. They have red mail.
Yeah, they have a decent number of hearts. They have red mail. Seems like they're pretty comfortable with where they are. I don't blame them. Gotta go fast.
All right, here we have a visit to Old Stumpy, and gamercal might be making his way over to Hype Cave, while Wild heads into the basement to go grab the maiden and go fight Blind.
Yeah, Hype Cave, guys. We got to get hyped for Hype Cave.
That has to be good. After the disappointing Moldorm Cave, let's see something good in Hype Cave.
I think we're going to see a Troll Fire Rod here. I want to go for the Troll Fire Rod. Because that'll lead him to Turtle Rock.
Oh! Well, it's a blue rupee to begin with.
It's a good start.
Lantern, okay. Source of flame. And the bow. So there's still dreams. There's still dreams.
There could still be a mirror somewhere deep in Turtle Rock or at the Master Sword pedestal, but that bow is going to open up a lot for these guys.
So,
and the lamp really helps a lot. I think Palace of Darkness and Eastern Palace are pretty big plays here, and I think gamercal realizes that.
It looks like he's making his way right over to Eastern. It's a crystal dungeon. Might as well get it out of the way and check the 3 items that are there. And Wild, we got some Oko strats there, but he pulls off the win and kills off Blind.
Half a heart left. But great job by Wild.
Wild doesn't have the cane yet because he didn't go to the C-shaped house just yet, which is where it is.
Yep, hopefully he'll remember.
No, I think going to Eastern before Pod is a good play because you can definitely beat this dungeon. They're lacking the mirror, and they're also lacking hammer, so you don't even know if you can complete Pod at this point.
Exactly.
So get Eastern out. Maybe hammer's here at Armos. Like, who knows? All right, so Wild just picked up his cane. Oh.
Yeah, I got you.
Someone. Hype Cave has nothing on what cave? Yep.
Also of note, these guys have a ton of money, and they still haven't visited Zora or Palace of Darkness. I mean, so they're going to spend a decent amount there, but these guys are pretty rich.
Yeah, they can do anything they want with those rupees.
Get a summer home.
Pod is
Death Mountain.
Pod is the eastern side of the Dark World map. It's the dungeon. It's Palace of Darkness. It's the dungeon that is a showcase of, I guess, dark rooms there.
Now remember, Armos Knights did hold an item, so we'll have to see what that is. That could be pretty big here for gamercal.
So it looks like Wild's going to take a quick stop at Old Stumpy, and then he's going to also hit up Hype Cave and get himself a bow and lantern.
Pretty much the exact same routes from these players. I mean, the only deviation we had was Wild going into Eastern Palace, which is why it seems like he's a bit behind, and he probably is because he has to make a second visit there. But he will likely get the clue to go there when he finds the bow in this Hype Cave.
I mean, there's definitely some choices for our runners after they complete Eastern. They do have everything they need to go get the Zora, although I prefer to check Zora when I can also go to Catfish at the same time. So it's a question if they'll decide to head on up there to take a look at those items. But my philosophy is if you can fully clear a dungeon, go fully clear it. Like, get the items, go beat it. Chances are you'll actually get something good to progress.
Yeah, and you're making progress towards your actual objective here of, you know, getting all the crystals and then going to Ganon's Tower. So I like that thought process. And it looks like gamercal is deciding that that is the play for him. Now, Wild, interestingly, fluting to 3 again. Let's see where he decides to go.
No, he changed
he's
his
going
mind.
somewhere else. Interesting.
It looks like he might go and beat Desert while he's over here. He has a Source of Flame and he has Mitts. And this is a crystal dungeon. So both of our runners doing 2 different dungeons. However, I will point out that Desert doesn't have any more items in it. So this is just for a crystal.
Now, what's interesting is Desert and Eastern have crystals 5 and 6.
Ah,
Could be big plays. The only problem is these guys don't have the hammer or the mirror to be able to take the big bomb over to the pyramid for Fat Fairy. So once they do find those things, then they'll be able to snag those 2 items over at the Fat Fairy.
So that could be hype. I don't usually see something worth over there. Red Rupee in Eastern, so no progression there, but still crystal, always good.
Now again, Palace of Darkness is available to these players, but they don't have the hammer to complete it.
There could be something good in there, though.
Could be hammer in there, for all we know.
So Wild making his way through Eastern. He quickly got through the...
Desert,
he already... Oh, what did I say?
Eastern.
Did I say Meyer?
Said Eastern. It's fine.
Right. Yeah, Desert, that's the place. So he's going to quickly go through there, beat the boss. Buttersword's going to make very quick work of Lamola's.
Gamercal doing an interesting play here.
He's going to visit the ferry. Maybe he wasn't sure if there was a chest in there. But he is going to make his way up the Zora and put those rupees to use.
Now without the flippers, he won't be able to collect the item sitting here on the ledge.
Which is a heart piece, I think?
It seems to be a heart piece. That's what it looks like.
Man, only a few pixels for these runners, and then they know what it is. Alright, so Wild killing off Lamola's. I think it's like 2 hits with the Butter Sword, no problem. Uses up all his magic in celebration.
And Zora delivering the flippers to Gamercal here.
How appropriate!
That is pretty funny.
And so at this point of the randomizer, it would expect them to get flippers from Zora and then go get the boots. So they got a jump start on that. Flippers itself really only unlocks part of Swamp, which is your favorite place to look for the hammer, I think. That first chest in Swamp could be hammer.
That's a dream right there. It looks like Wild is going for the Zora play here as well, interestingly. Both these players thinking alike. The Gamercal has completed Eastern Palace as well. I wonder if Wild will head over there too.
So they both have 2 crystals. Wild's about to get his flippers. So it's a very close match. Oh, it's a full heart, not a heart piece. Yeah, I do want to point out, Randomizer putting something where it belongs is randomized. That's a good thing to happen. Every now and then you'll get an item where it belongs.
Or Feasel must have just entered 0 as the seed number, which makes a lot of sense.
That's true. We just blame Feasel. Just kidding. Feasel's been doing a great job with this. Don't blame Feasel.
Alright, let's see where Wild goes from here. And Gamercal is finishing up Desert Palace. He's going to get his 3rd crystal here in a second. Wild with a little indecision.
I mean, he can go pretty much anywhere.
Maybe he's heading over to the Master Sword pedestal. That would be pretty cool. But looks like he might maybe heading into Skull Woods. That could be a little bit of a gamble.
It's a very quick dungeon. There's 2 items in there. It's quick to check. Looks like that's not the case. Maybe he's going to head up on the northern side of the map. There's a few items up that way.
Unfortunately, he can't collect any of them.
No.
Because he doesn't have the mirror or the cape.
Yeah, really, he can only just go to Catfish and maybe decide to take a look at Pod while he's at it. Nothing on the ledge, which is where you would need the magic cape.
Yeah, with the flippers, he will be able to head over to Catfish pretty quickly, though. So that's not a bad plan.
That's true. Why not Mire? I mean, I personally don't like going into Mire until later on, but it is a valid location for items, and they do have everything they need in order to beat that dungeon.
Absolutely. gamercal is now ahead, having 3 crystals. But some of this overworld exploration from Wild could pay off. I mean, catfish is an item that is super far out of the way, and if it does yield something good, then it can pay off quite a bit. Looks like gamercal is opting for Meyer here.
So I feel like catfish is the sort of spot that some runners will tend to forget because it's sort of out of the way. And I do get good things from catfish every now and then. Blue tunic, nope, not this time.
So now Wild, where are you heading? That is the question. Maybe going to Palace of Darkness?
Well, he can get most of the items in there. The only one he wouldn't be able to get is the boss item if it's holding one.
Right.
But the Palace of Darkness itself has 5 unique items within it. So there's a very good chance that he might get something good in there. And as I mentioned earlier, Meyer, which is where gamercal is, has 2 unique items in it.
Awesome execution of that first Wizro broom from gamercal. He knocked that out so quickly.
So there are a lot of small keys that gamercal will be picking up while he's in this dungeon. This is also sort of dungeon. I've heard arguments for go ahead and beat Meyer early on because you're going to be looking through a lot of chests to find that big key. That chances are you're going to also just stumble across the items.
That is definitely a fair point. We see 300 rupees here in this chest in this spike room, so one of the 2 items is down.
So once again, we have a situation where one of these runners should come up with worth. If anything, gamercal's going to get a crystal for his trouble because Wild cannot beat Palace of Darkness just yet.
Right, but if Hammer is in Palace of Darkness, I mean, we've seen Flippers is in its normal spot. What if Hammer is in its normal spot? That can be kind of a troll.
Okay, well, let's see what Feasel...
That could be huge.
Let's see if Feasel did that for our runners. Hashtag blame Feasel.
Hashtag blame Feasel.
So Wild heading over to the area, the right-hand side of Palace of Darkness. This is the area that you need the bow right away to check 2 chests. And at times, this is the one that's required in order to progress through the dungeon if there's not a small key on the left-hand side. So I don't usually go for Palace of Darkness until I get the bow because of that reason. It's a long way to go out of your way to check one item if it's not, a small key.
Seeing a lot of keys here. And now what's unfortunate is with them not having the mirror, Wild is going to have to go all the way back. Or I suppose kill himself. The thing is, he does have a fairy, I think.
Oh no, I
just realized.
Yeah, that's a shame. B. Nope. There's the fairy. Yep. I'll just deposit the fairy, and he decides to die. I think he could have walked back faster at this point.
See ya, fairy.
So gamercal's almost finished his collection of Meyer. He has 2 chests on the right-hand side to check, and then he can pretty much go to the boss. And as we mentioned, he already found 1 of the unique items here. So, or is he? Oh, he didn't look at this chest.
But he's still looking for one of the items here, and one could be at the big chest, one could be at the boss.
Yep.
It could be in either of those places. So. It looks like he's probably going to go clean up the big chest before he heads down to fight Vitreous.
Yeah, I think spikes are a set 1 heart damage regardless of your mail. I think that is. Someone can correct me.
Wild is getting all the keys right now.
I do want to point out, gamercal has 2 hearts of health. This is a tougher dungeon, and he does get a rod. I didn't see what one it was, though.
It's a fire rod. The fire rod is in the big chest in Misery Mire. Now, that might not be required at all.
Still, it can help him go take a look at Skull Woods.
It can. It can help him look at Skull Woods. It can help him look at Turtle Rock. So that's an interesting item that provides some progression, but it kind of in the wrong directions.
Right. It is the Sahashala pendant, though.
It is indeed. The green pendant is in Skullwoods.
Oh, mushroom for Wild, so he has no idea if he got work. And I will point out, I just played a seed where Mushroom was in Palace of Darkness that led to Hammer. So it required you to go through Palace of Darkness twice.
Wild having a little bit of fun here with the mini Helmasaur. And again, he cannot complete Palace of Darkness, but he can collect every item except for the item at the boss.
And he'll probably do a save and quit if he doesn't get a mirror to leave.
I imagine so. And to answer the question about Randomizer being incompletable, there is logic in place every time one of these seeds are generated for these players that checks to make sure that the seed is completable by them. So all these checks are in place. We haven't found any situations where it's incompletable. It doesn't just shuffle up the items arbitrarily. It definitely has some logic involved in the placement of all the items.
So gamercal doing the spin strats, although it's getting a little risky. He only has one. Oh, he pulls out the cane, putting it to use that he picked up earlier. Wild did not get anything of worth aside from that mushroom. All right, so gamercal picking up his 4th crystal. Getting a bit more of a lead on Wild here. He might have skipped the big chest if he realized that he only has the map and compass left.
Now, Wild is falling behind in the crystal count, but he's doing a lot of exploration in a lot of interesting places, so these things may pay off.
Mushroom was mirror!
Holy smokes, we see a magic mirror here from Wild. That is a big play right there, and that's going to open up a lot of options for him.
So... oh, okay, he got a map. It could have been a small key. So each of our runners. So gamercal got the fire rod, and it could be mistaking and making gamercal think he has to head up the Skull Woods. Wild does get the mirror, which is definitely a progression item, and he adds a few locations that he can now check.
Now, if something is of huge value in the later part of Skullwoods, this is going to be huge for gamercal. Because you do need Fire Rod to get into basically the boss area in Skullwoods. And with him having collected that in Misery Mire, and then also making the trek into a dungeon that requires a pendant, this is a big play.
So
but it could also
Wild
be bad for him, sorry.
I was going to say, Wild decides not to do the dwarves just yet. I think he's going to go take a look at this ledge first, then go return to dwarves. So this whole chain here, there's like 3 items. He can go take a look at the Bombos tablet after he deposits the purple chest. So the mirror itself unlocks a lot of locations that Wild can now check and maybe, hope to get that hammer.
Yeah, this could be pretty big.
So
magic that is also available since he does have that magic powder.
Good point. That's another item. gamercal is in Skullwoods. There's 2 unique items here, and if he decides to beat Mothula, it's the green pendant, which means it's a Sahashala item. And point earlier is that now that Wild has the mirror, he can go check out the Fat Fairy.
That is a great point. The question is if he realizes that. He still has to defeat Eastern Palace in order to collect for the big bomb to actually spawn and go for those Fat Fairy items. But if he does do that and something of value is there, that could be pretty huge. Looks like he's going to head up towards Tower of Hera. We'll also be able to check the Ether tablet as well.
So this area of the map was actually blocked off because you need either a mirror or a hammer to get up here. But it is just a pendant dungeon. But it is a very quick dungeon to check.
It is indeed.
Faster than probably Skull Woods. By a little bit.
You know what? I think the reason he actually came up here was to get the bug net.
Okay, that's understandable. Yeah, so inside the Pyramid Fairy location, there's 2 chests that are just sitting there, since normally she would upgrade 2 of your items. Oh, a sword downgrade for Wild. Not actually a downgrade, but it was just a temper up there.
You know, Link has some amazing catching skills. There's like a sword falling from the sky, and he just accepts it with open arms. He's got some mad skills for taking that challenge on.
Alright, so there's 2 unique items for Wild in this dungeon. Gamercal's making his way into the end portion of Skullwoods, and he might just opt to fight the boss after he takes a look at this chest. I'm not sure if he picked up anything of worth just yet.
Yeah, he's going for the boss immediately. He wants that green pendant, and there could be an item there too.
Well, let's hope they also take a look at the pedestal.
I mean, he doesn't have the mirror, so he's going to have to, like, save and quit. We know the mirror is at the witch.
Actually, there's nothing good that's going to be required at pedestal. The only thing that our runners are missing is hammer.
And hammer cannot be at the pedestal because Turtle Rock is one of the pendants. So, yeah, at this point, the pedestal dream is not valid.
But we do have the Fat Fairy as a dream. And, no, not Turtle Rock. Yeah, just the Fat Fairy. So, Moldorm there only takes 2 swipes of the Butter Sword, making very quick work. Getting a piece of heart for or a full heart for his trouble, and a pendant.
And we know that blue pendant is not worth, but maybe this green pendant is. So Hasrilla could be holding the hammer. That would be really huge for Gamercal here. He would more or less be in go mode, because I imagine a hammer would lead him to Palace of Darkness, where he would find the mirror, which is the last required item he would need if he did get the hammer.
Although he could opt to go into Skullwood. Oh, no, not without the... Yeah. Really, Palace of Darkness would be his best bet. Like, from his perspective. Although, if Wild happens to find the hammer in the basement here, he will definitely be in go mode.
He'll have a huge advantage if he definitely has this hammer, and he will be immediately in go mode. He doesn't need that fire rod to make any sort of progression. So, even though Gamercal did snatch up the fire rod and it's a useful item, it's not required to complete the seed. It's just not at all.
So right now we have a race. Who's going to get hammer first? Looks like Gamercal, he already beat Eastern, so...
He's delivering the green pendant to
pendant.
Sahasrahla, yeah. Without mirror, he needs to do this all in the light world.
It's interesting how smooth mirror makes the game, like how much faster you can do things. It's just a piece of heart for his trouble over there.
So that Skull Woods did not pay off for Gamercal, so this is giving Wild the chance to catch up. If he does find the hammer, he's going to be in amazing shape. He doesn't here in Hera, so Hera didn't pay off for Wild. Skull Woods didn't pay off for Gamercal. These guys are going to have to figure out somewhere else to go.
No, so what we mean is that Gamercal would have to head into Palace of Darkness to get the mushroom, which gives him the mirror.
Right. We know exactly where the mirror is. It's at the witch hut.
So this is where you can see Wild did some early exploration of the overmap. Gamercal's heading up to Catfish now. He's looking for that hammer, and there's a few locations for him to check. You know, for all we know, Mirror is actually required to get hammer, which meant Palace of Darkness is required to be done twice.
That would be quite the troll.
So maybe Wild will opt to do the Fat Fairy after he finishes Eastern and gets his number 6 crystal. Or 5, whichever one it is.
And I do like the decision for Wild to start clearing out these dungeons. He needs to catch up on the crystal counts. And he can complete, you know, both of these dungeons that Gamercal has completed. So he needs to start, you know, getting through these. Otherwise, he's going to be way behind. Even if he does have Go Mode activated, he's going to be a bit behind in terms of just the dungeon count.
Yeah, so interestingly enough, I know Wild likes to do dungeons the moment he can. I'm actually surprised that he hasn't done more dungeons at this point. There's not too many they can do that are required. You know, with Fire Rod and Bombos, I mean, they can go to the Ice Palace at any point, which is a required dungeon.
So there are a few interesting locations that Hammer could be. There is the blacksmiths that I was surprised that Wild didn't go take advantage of. There's a lot of items in that area, including the magic bat. But then, in terms of dungeons, it could be in the first chest in Swamp Palace, or it could be buried somewhere in Ice Palace as well.
You would love for it to be the first chest in Swamp, wouldn't you?
It's pretty much the definition of an Alu scene.
That is. Yes, we have. I've raced in that one against Alu, where the very first chest in Swamp, the only one you can get without Hammer, was Hammer. I've seen it. It can happen.
It definitely can. You need the Hammer to progress to any points past that first chest. There's a bombable wall to collect a chest early on in Swamp Palace, and that's the only item you can collect if you don't have the Hammer.
So I will point out that gamercal's options are actually pretty limited without Hammer and Mirror. So that's why he's opting to dupe House of Darkness, just hoping into that Hammer. We know it'll lead him to the Mirror, though, which will definitely unlock a number of things. Wild putting that Mirror to use right now to see another location he can now check. This is it's a slight trolly seed. I wouldn't say it's full troll. Mirror was at the Witch's Hut. You get the mushroom inside of Palace of Darkness.
There it is.
Right there it is.
So Gamercal collecting the mushroom, but deciding, you know what, I'm here. Let's continue exploring Palace of Darkness. I think it's a wise choice to just kind of clear it out. You can get like the big key and stuff, and then you can just save and quit. Head to that witch.
Yeah, so we're starting to see in chat a few guesses of where Hammer actually can be, because that's really the question of the seed. Where is that Hammer? Is Mirror required for it? Which I suspect it is. But as I mentioned, they can still go into Ice Palace at any point, which could be the dungeon where it is. Although you cannot beat Ice Palace without Hammer.
Right. Which is another reason why it would be so troll if it is in the Ice Palace.
Yep.
Now, I imagine Wild is going to full clear Meyer here, and so he will end up finding the Fire Rod, which could put him on a path towards Skull Woods, which would be quite unfortunate for him.
So Gamercat, without the Mirror, he decides to just do a save and quit. Maybe he'll go take a look at that mushroom right away. I will say Meyer is not a bad choice for Wild. As I mentioned, if you can fully clear a dungeon, go fully clear and take a look at the items. He doesn't know that he won't get anything in here. But the fact that he can full clear, get all the items, I think is a good choice.
Gamercal is about to get his payday here with the Magic Mirror, and that's going to open up a lot of options for him. We'll see where he goes. Wild has done a decent amount of traversal with the Mirror, including going into Tower of Hera. But there's a lot of places to check. There's the place above the graveyard. There's the place with the frog and saving the dwarves, you know, reuniting the dwarves. And there's that purple chest. There's a lot of things that they can check. Magic bat.
So it looks like Gamercat might be doing that now. Maybe he'll do the dwarves while he's over here. Wild opted to go south and do the ledge. What is it? South of the Grove, I think it is, and Bombos instead. Oh, Gamercow heading north. He's gonna scope out the graveyard area.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he actually took a look at the bumper cave, so he's sweeping north here and just kind of taking care of everything in one fell swoop.
Anytime you can get multiple items along a route, I think is a good choice.
Yeah, I like
get
the
information
routing.
or get it. Yeah.
Really solid. Now that would mean he would have to also find the cape if it was at Bumper Cave, but we know that it's not.
Oh, he just decided to go look at that one item and then head back. Maybe now do the dwarves.
This could be bad if the item is in the graveyard, but I think he is going for the dwarves now.
Wild pretty much halfway through Meyer there. He got himself the big key. He has 2 chests on the right-hand side to grab, and then he's ready to go tackle the boss. All right, so here we will see gamercal dropping off the dwarf. Now, I don't think he went to the magic bat yet, did he?
No. So I think what he's going to do is he's probably going to, grab the purple chest and then go to magic bat, flute out. There's the magic cape. We know that's not required, but it's a nice safety item.
The dwarves built it with their hammers somehow. Did I not? Oh, I didn't mark Aghanim kill.
Forged in bread.
Yeah, Aghanim was required this seed, so both of our runners did kill Aghanim. The purple chest going for a ride here.
Yeah, I like it. 50 rupees. And then we'll see what this purple chest contains. If it is the hammer, we're going to have some go mode here.
While picking himself the fire rod, which hopefully will not send him along the false path of heading into Skull Woods, which you saw was not worth. And he only has 2 hearts, so unless he uses magic powder on this yellow anti-fairy thing. Oh, I guess putting the net to use.
Told you he was going for that net. There is also a mirror spot here in the desert. Good call by gamercal to remember that this actually exists in the northeast corner of desert. This could be Hammer, in theory.
No, Hammer is not below the Haunted Grove. Wild actually already checked that spot. Did
only 10 arrows.
Oh, Ice Rod was in the purple chest. Is that? Oh, we missed that.
Yeah, Ice Rod was in the purple chest, but these guys don't need Ice Rod.
Or do they?
Or
no,
do they?
They can't do Turtle Rock. They don't need it.
Yeah, they can't actually get into Turtle Rock without the hammer itself.
Ice Rod just takes up space in the inventory.
Now remember, Fat Fairy is also a thing here. With Mirror.
That's true. And the only way you can access that is by going to Village of Outcasts and taking the long trek over to the right-hand side.
Exactly. That would be quite the troll.
He might be doing that just right now.
Thought he might, but now he's heading to probably the graveyard. That's my guess. You see some Cane of Burna strats from Wild here, knocking out the eyeballs around Vitreous. Lagging the game up a little bit, but, you know.
Hey, he had one
heart.
He had
1 heart, so safety strats all the way.
Well, he's going to be very low on arrows for the time being. Interesting. Usually I see most of these racers have a lot of arrows, so it's interesting to see so few have been gotten this seed.
gamercal going and cleaning up a couple of these mirror spots that Wild already checked, so we know that these are no good. This one and Bombos.
So Wild picks up his 4th crystal. He still, of course, you can't do Palace of Darkness and Swamp without Hammer, and Ice Palace needs Hammer. So really, the last 3 dungeons, and Wild has already cleared out Palace of Darkness. Last 3 dungeons all require Hammer. And the game can troll you by putting Hammer in either Ice or Swamp. Like, the game can do that.
Looks like Wild might be on that path to Skull Woods. The red herring fire rod.
It's a quick check. It's faster than doing, like, what gamercal might be doing.
Oh, no, maybe he's going for dwarves. Maybe he's going for dwarves. There is still Ice Palace. There is still Fat Fairy. There's still the first chest in Swamp Palace. There's still this graveyard spot that I hope Wild is checking right now.
So you see, both of our racers have pretty much caught up to each other. They have slightly different places that they've checked. It's really a question of who gets the hammer first. Wait, is gamercal actually going to take a look at the first spot?
He's going for the gamble. This is the dream right here. Wild finding a full heart in the graveyard, not paying off with that hammer. This could be big.
there's still plenty of places for our runners to take a look. As we mentioned, they went to different locations. gamercal didn't go up to Tower Hera, Wild didn't do Skull Woods, so we'll have to see which way they decide to go. Oh, Wild's just going to go right into Ice Palace.
Ooh, so these guys delving into different dungeons to try to find this hammer. Oh, Wild deciding not to go into ice. Interesting.
False alarm.
Maybe he's going into Skull Woods instead. Or dwarves.
Yeah, you do have... Vitor would know how the randomizer works, and he does point out there's more options in ice compared to anything else that they have currently. So I think I missed it. gamercal took a look at the first chest, and it was not hammer, so he can't finish it. But he's going to head up to Fat Fairy.
It's looking like it. This could be a big play.
Wild might be heading to... Oh, no, he's going to do Dwarves first, since he didn't do that yet.
He is.
All right, I'm feeling good about this Fat Fairy call, although I would like for the troll that it would be in Ice Palace as well.
They're both
I could go
pretty
either way.
hidden locations, but the fact that usually people think that you need hammer in order to deliver this big bomb is really interesting, especially if they hadn't killed Aghanim. That would have been pretty crazy. You know, if that was required, you would have been forced to, like, go and kill Aghanim.
All right, so gamercal's going to be going into the pyramid soon. Let's see what he picks up. Wild is cleaning up the dwarven area with the magic powder, and okay, here we go for gamercal. Nothing.
Still nothing. So maybe Ice Palace is the play.
I trying to think. They check swap. I think Ice Palace is the only place left.
It might actually be. I mean, gamercal hasn't checked the graveyard mirror spot, and he hasn't been to Hera, so he's gonna go on this little quest in Death Mountain. Now, he can't check... I know some people were asking, can he check the Cane of Burna cave, the Spike cave, and that's not available because you need hammer, actually, to access that spot, so that's not something that they'll need to go into at this point.
As a last item to get, hammer, like, it opens up so many spots. It's really interesting to see that being the last item. It's not what you typically see, which makes this interesting.
Very, very hidden.
Bumper Cave just had, what, a piece of heart, I think?
Yeah, I think it was a piece of heart. These guys both checked it. These guys are being pretty thorough with their checks. That is for sure.
All right, so Wild's going to deposit the purple chest. He already did Bombos, but if he wanted to do Fat Fairy, he would need to walk over there in the Dark World.
Right, and he'll be in a decent spot to head towards Ice Palace if he wants to. Or he could try to do the first chest in Swamp, just like gamercal did.
If Ice Palace does happen to have the hammer, Wild's going to be kicking himself because he almost went in there and then went away. I have a feeling Wild's going to go into Skull Woods first.
Yep, it looks like he is. I don't know where else he could be going right now if he's here.
Well, like I mentioned, to get to Fat Fairy, this is the warp he has to take because you can't take the other warp, which requires hammer.
Exactly.
But no, he's going into Skull Woods. He's in for some disappointment. But let's hope he makes quick work of this dungeon and grabs the items.
I don't blame him. I mean, with the green pendant being here, it makes a little bit of sense. There are 3 items available.
Right. I will point out that Ice Palace also has 3 items in it. However, a few of them are locked behind hammer pegs, including the boss. So I think it's a smart play on Wild's part to go in here. There's a slightly better chance it's something you can fully clear, and you get more items out of it. So from his perspective, this is a decent call, but we already know what's here.
Wild using some cool bumper strats here. I like it. Probably just an accident, but I like it.
We'll say he meant, and he meant to run into that spike as well. This is all on purpose. Yeah, we know the pedestal cannot hold the hammer because Turtle Rock is a required dungeon, and you need hammer to get into Turtle Rock to get that pendant.
Right, and gamercal will likely check the basement here. We know it's not worth, but he's probably going to be delving down there.
Now, no, they both had Kane. Never mind.
I do still think gamercal has the edge here by a little bit. It's going to take Wild a little bit to get through Skull Woods and then deliver the green pendant.
Yep. Looks like he's going to put that master key to use first with a bomb jump, and then he'll continue with the dungeon. Oh, gamercal just missing the little glitch that lets you stand and not take damage. They are not in go mode because they are lacking the hammer. They need the hammer in order to beat the remaining 3 crystal dungeons.
And they've already full cleared Palace of Darkness.
Well, gamercal half cleared it. He quit early.
Oh, true.
But since he'll be in go mode, he might not even need to check that many chests. I forget where the big key was in Palace of Darkness. 50 rupees for gamercal's trouble. He's running out of locations to check. Big chest equals little key. Yeah. And in Palace of Darkness, you need to make sure you go into the basement with a small key. If you miss out on that small key, you're going to have to backtrack.
I think maybe gamercal is heading to the graveyard now. I think that's maybe the only thing he can do from here, but I'm not sure at this point.
DM Island?
Wild is checking the Master Sword pedestal.
Oh, it's Couch Cash.
Couch Cash, which we know it can't be the hammer.
So on Death Mountain, I forget what was up there, but I know it wasn't hammer. If it was the hammer, either of these races would have been right there if they had checked it earlier. I don't think Wild remembers how to get through this room. It's been so long.
Well, interestingly, there are some pots under there that you can actually lift up. I was discovered actually fairly recently. Which is kind of neat.
So the big difference for Wild compared to gamercal in this dungeon is that he has the mirror, so he's able to quickly get back rather than having to do a save and quit or anything.
Very true.
So yeah, it's a question of who decides to go into Ice Palace first. So that seems to be
gamercal is going back into Pod.
That's true. He didn't finish it. He didn't finish it. That would be a bit of a setback for him. I thought
Wild didn't get the big chest in Pod, but maybe I missed it.
He didn't get the big chest because it was a small key, is what chat is saying. But as I mentioned, if he's missing a small key, then that's bad.
It's really bad because he's going to have to go and get it.
Alright, so Wild, with his fight against Mothula here, the Butter Sword, now, in the regular game, Butter Sword does no damage to Mothula. That is a change in the randomizer itself to make sure that you can actually deal damage to him. Otherwise, you'd have Butter Sword and you'd be in trouble and you have to do hammer strats or... is that the only thing that works on him? B. You have to use magic B strats.
B. Good old B strats. So yeah, gamercal is going for a second run through in Pod here.
Okay, so Vitor says the big chest is not a small key because it can never be the small key. I'm going to go with what he says because he did write this randomizer. Well, he worked on the code, I should say.
If this big chest has a hammer in it, Wild is going to be kicking himself. He was right next to it, and he didn't check it.
I want to see one of these races go into Ice Palace. I think Wild's heading over there right now.
I think so, too.
If it's in here, he's going to fly through this dungeon, and that will actually give Wild the edge. However, if gamercal happens to check a chest that Wild miss and its hammer, he's going to have the edge. We don't know. This is a close race.
This is a pretty intense race. Crazy that the hammer, which is an item that you really need for a lot of things, is the kind of the open-ended item.
Okay, so there's the map. So yeah, I feel like the big chest should be an item. I'm not sure why Wild skipped it.
Yeah, I thought I remember seeing the map in here. So if again, vanilla location hammer.
Oh man,
crazy.
Hashtag blame Fiesel.
Yep.
Yeah, this is such a close race. Like, gamercal had a slight edge early on because he was doing dungeons, but then just by being trolled with this hammer, both of our runners are just looking for that.
They've had to check everything, right? Like, they've really just had to go deep into every single dungeon. They've had to check every overworld spot. It's pretty crazy. And gamercal is going for the big chest here, so let's see what it is.
Piece of
It's
heart.
a piece of heart. So Wild, I
He
guess,
lucked out.
made the right decision in retrospect, but he really should have checked it. It could have been the hammer.
We'll have to ask him about that later on in the interview. So, I believe hammer is in here. gamercal looks like thinks the same thing, is also going to head in Ice Palace. It's a question of who finds it first. Wild has a slight head start here.
Maybe Wild bomb jumped and we missed it. Like, maybe that's the only thing I can think of. Maybe he already got the big chest.
I honestly cannot think of any more locations that our runners have not checked.
Yeah, I think there's nowhere else for the hammer to be but here. And there it is.
Oh!
There it is, folks. Right above the big chest in Ice Palace, we find the hammer.
This is a slight troll. It's a dungeon that normally requires hammer, and there it is. So Wild is in go mode. gamercal's gonna be up there shortly. I mean, that's
so close behind. This is not over.
That is
guys.
a quick
This
chess.
This is gonna be these players using their skills to get through the game, the rest of the game. They've got to go as fast as they can.
Yep. I mean, they both have fully cleared Palace of Darkness. They're going to get through that quickly. Swamp is a quick dungeon to do when you don't need to check for items since you don't need the big key. This is going to be very quick to the end here. I mean, they're at 127 in go mode. It's going to be 2 very quick dungeons after this.
Awesome fight from Wild here on Cold Stare. Gets those puffballs in the corner, the cotton candies in the corner, and knocks them out.
Buttersword's great for that fight.
It's really just cleaning up Palace of Darkness and heading to Swamp Palace.
And this is actually a good demonstration of doing a bomb jump. Normally, I would say if you think you're checking all of the items here, you don't really need to do a bomb jump because you're going to end up getting the big key. But however, since they know getting hammer equals go mode, you want to make sure everything's set up so they can quickly they can get to the boss.
Right.
So it's one of those rare instances where you don't need to check everything because the moment you find hammer, you go. No silvers. I don't think either of our runners actually need silvers. I know Wild definitely does not need them.
gamercal doesn't either. So the thing is, if these guys check a couple of chests along the way and silvers are in them, that might actually give one of them the edge.
So what is
forward.
it? I think this is like a 3-minute difference at this point. This is really close.
3 minutes? I feel like it's less than 3 minutes. It might be like 1.5 or 2 minutes difference.
Go mode confirmed by both of our runners. No boomerang, no silver arrows. You don't need them. Just go. No boomerang. Imagine someone looking for the boomerang just to finish.
Well, they know the magic boomerang is in the library, so they could go get that.
Gamer is beating the dungeon, which
Wild's out of arrows in the mimic.
Oh no!
room, but he's picking some up. The game puts some in the pots there.
And he doesn't even pick up the 5 arrow drop. He will need some against Armos for a quick kill there. So actually, yeah, gamercal will have a slight advantage because he has more arrows saved up.
Awesome fight from gamercal here against Cold Stare. Both of these guys showing off some awesome speedrun tech in these fights.
All right, so gamercal picking up his 5th crystal. Wild in the basement of Palace of Darkness. And he'll shortly be at the boss. Let's see what dungeon gamercal decides to do next. 'Cause really, there's no difference between which one he goes to. You're going to have the flute to get to both. Boomerang is Ganon's ultimate weakness. That's right. Nobody knows. But there it is. Alright, they're doing 2 different dungeons. Gamercal's going to head down and complete Swamp first. So we're going to have to take a look at the timestamp when someone gets to Ganon's tower. So we can see the difference there.
Yeah.
This could really come down to who picks the correct side of Ganon's tower to do first. There's a lot more chests on the left-hand side, but one of these runners could say, hey, I think my opponent's ahead of me. I'm just going to go to right first and hope for the best.
That would be really interesting and could make or break this race.
Yes, you can skip the left-hand side of Swamp. Gamercal doesn't have to open. He opens one chest, which is the one in the first room, which has a small key. Otherwise, he can skip everything else. You do not need a big key in Swamp, so he can just get through the dungeon and get to the boss.
Right, and hopefully Wild knows that. I'm pretty sure he knows that. And he's going to be heading there in a second here. So both of these guys will be in Swamp Palace at the same time. Wild definitely is basically a crystal up, a little less than a crystal up, I suppose, since gamercal is already in Swamp, making his way.
This is where we see Wild's experience from practicing any percent and 100% really coming into play here. Oh, that's right. He did get that small key already. Good point, Vitor. Because he scoped out this dungeon earlier. That actually might be what hurts gamercal in the end. The fact that he dipped into here in the off chance that it had an item. Like this is coming down to within minutes of each other.
Definitely. And again, as you mentioned, Ganon's tower can be a deciding factor in this race. Somebody gambles right, another person goes left. It could go both ways.
This is definitely a crazy day for races. So there's one small key. This is actually the intended small key that you need to progress through the dungeon that gamercal just picked up. After you get hookshot, you go get it, and then you can open this door back here. So that door is what blocks you in the base game. They know you're gonna get the hookshot before you can beat it. That's the only way to beat this dungeon. So rather than putting a big key door, they just did that. They make you get the big key elsewhere to get the hookshot, which unlocks the rest of the dungeon.
Yeah, it's a neat way of gating the game is by using the actual item that you've collected in the dungeon. But little did they know that we would make these awesome randomizers and have these randomizer tournaments. And so honestly, it actually makes for really interesting decisions and routing.
Yeah. The variety that Nintendo put in to this game design actually works out really well for randomizers. There's Desi with the go mode confirmed. Speaking of creating these randomizers, there's both Vitor and Desi, but Desi, of course, is the one who made the randomizer in the first place. Thanks to him, we have this.
Absolutely. And Vitor has definitely expanded upon that with all the interesting VT8 stuff that we see in here, you know, like all the randomization of prize packs. And of course, like Carcat, Christos, all the playtesters involved. Without any of those guys, we wouldn't have this amazing tournament and these awesome races to watch day in and day out over the course of, 4 weeks plus the bracket stage. So definitely show them some love. Hashtag thank Dusty. I like it.
So, go mode is where the runners don't have to open any chest or look for any more items. They have everything they need. They can just get right to the boss and go beat it. If we need to tag anyone, we need to hashtag blame Fiesel. Alright, so
if Hammer had been in Hammer Chest, I would have been on board with that.
Let's see. Swamp. So gamercal heading into Palace of Darkness to pick up his last crystal. Wild almost done with Swamp, and then he'll be heading on up to Ganon's Tower. Yeah, Wild, I think the advantage with arrows goes to gamercal. Wild's going to have to farm a little bit for arrows if he has to kill Armos. And killing Armos just might be a misdirection, and the big key could be on the right-hand side. This is too close to tell at this point. Wild has a slight advantage, but anything can happen.
You do need arrows as you go upstairs in Ganon's Tower to kill some of the mimics, too.
That's true. You need 8 arrows to go up there. And with the randomized prize packs, they are not guaranteed to drop arrows.
Hopefully he realizes this issue.
Silvers in Turtle Rock would be interesting.
Awesome Kane strat by gamercal there on the crystal switch. I don't think I've seen that before. And then he set up for Kane in the next room, too.
I like that. I'm going to have to remember that. What's wrong with Wild? Did we lose his stream?
He's cherishing that last crystal.
I'm going to try to pull up his stream and see. Maybe we just need to refresh. Oh, his stream died. Wild's stream is dead.
Oh, no.
I'm going to panic basket him. Let's see. SRL said no, he's still logged in. I'm going to assume he's still running and it's just the stream itself that is down. So
yeah, he's still racing in the official speedrun channel, so we just lost video feed for now. We'll try to get it back soon.
I'll just let him know in the race chat that his stream died.
Yeah, I'm sure he's focusing on his play. We see him actually at Ganon's Tower suddenly.
Okay, there he goes.
His stream back.
It looks like he's doing the... There it is. So he's heading into GT at 138.08.
Here we go. Make your guesses, guys, on which chest the big key will be in. I'm going to go with number 1.
14.
Number 1.
Bob or bust.
2 keys already. I guess I already lost. More keys. So actually, we're not going to see Bob here from Wild because he did go for that bonk key on the torch there, which actually means that Bob will not appear. I guess it's really just naked Bob versus clothed Bob. That's the way I look at it.
So gamercal is making his way up to Ganon's Tower, and then we'll be able to see just how off these 2 runners are. Wow, all the small keys.
5 keys right now, and a
and
small
there's
boomerang.
The boomerang. Boomerang strats on Ganon confirmed. Wild seeing you cannot hookshot over to the orb.
Confirmed at this point.
The tracker messed up? What?
Tracker looks good for me.
Yeah.
gamercal is almost into Ganon's tower now. Again, if he goes right, and the big key is on the right side, this is gonna be crazy. Like, this is gonna be a race. Wild picking up 10 arrows in that chest is actually really clutch for him right there. That was pretty big.
Something you actually want to find at this point. I might have hit Palace of Darkness Crystal instead of Swamp Crystal by accident. Half magic.
Half magic, more arrows.
And ether. Guess what? It's either in Bob's chest or it's Armos or the right-hand side. And you can actually get to Bob's chest and Armos from the right-hand side. So gamercal could make the gamble. He's making the gamble!
He's going for it right now. This is it, guys.
Oh my gosh.
Crazy, crazy race. These guys are searching different places in Ganon's tower for the big key. Where is it?
Oh my gosh. So this is gonna be huge payoff. Oh, it's in Bob's chest!
Bob
Oh
wins the day here. And Wild is rewarded with the big key.
That was so this is so close. gamercal's only about 2 minutes behind. If he continues on to Bob's chest from here, he actually might save a little bit of time.
Right, you can still access Bob's chest from this side. So if he doesn't warp out,
silver arrows!
And he gets silver arrows here. That's a leg up against Wild, who will have to do a silver arrowless strat, which is slower. This is crazy.
So as long as gamercal decides to he mirrors back. Oh no. That's actually going to be a bit of a time loss for gamercal because we know it's in Bob's chest and he has to make his way through there. He has silver arrows, but with Butter Sword, Ganon's going to be a really quick fight regardless.
Wild's a little low on health here. He's going into the gauntlet with 3 hearts. We may see him go and grab a couple fairies off of this side room. I do think he has a fairy, though. Oh, no, he let it go!
That's right.
And Pod! Oh, no. This could be pretty dicey for Wild. He needs to be really careful.
He has nothing. He has a green potion. That's it.
So far, so good, though. He's keeping those hearts up.
Blue boomerang for gamercal.
That bloomerang. As Wild falls to 2 hearts. He's flying through these rooms, though.
I mean, there's a reason we call this the gauntlet. You're going to take damage.
Looks like he barely sneaks out of here with his life. And he's going to powder this bunny beam.
Yeah.
Grab himself some extra health. One mistake like dying in there is the race. So these guys need to be on top of everything, and Wild definitely making some clutch plays.
Fire Rod making very quick work of Lamola's 2. gamercal is almost up to the Bob chest. He just has one more room that he'll take a look at, which will give him half magic.
And again, Wild needs to be on point with his execution coming up here and on the Ganon fight, because remember, gamercal does have those silver arrows. His fight is going to be significantly faster.
I mean, this is close enough that like one fall to Moldorm 2 or Ganon pretty much decides the race.
Definitely Ganon, that's for sure. I think a fall to Moldorm 2 would probably keep him kind of neck and neck at this point, but having those silver arrows is very significant.
Alright, so Wild almost through the last few locked doors and onto Moldorm 2. gamercal's about to pick up his big key from the Bob chest. There it is.
He's going upstairs. And again, those silver arrows are going to help him in these mimic rooms. There's a fall from Wild to Moldorm 2 here. You might have cursed him.
Oh no, I'm sorry, Wild. When you watch this again. If you watch this. So I'm going to look at the timer for when he actually finishes, when he hookshots over, and then we'll see the time difference between our runners here. Okay, 1:45:13. It's about a 30-second time loss, I think, of fall to Moldorm 2.
Yeah, when it comes down to it, that amount of time is very significant when these racers are so close. You can't really afford another mistake.
Hey, they're in a race. Can we really hold it against them for not taking a look at the Moldorm 2 chest?
Yes. That's the short answer. I'm not going to disqualify them, but I'm going to be very disappointed.
Everyone in chat's like, yes. Alright, so Wild very quickly moving on to Ganon. That was a very quick Aghanim fight for him.
gamercal also in here with very low health in the gauntlet.
What is with this? He does have a fairy, though.
Well, he's at half a heart right now, so... Oh, he fortunately got a hard drop there and squeaked out of there.
The dodges.
Barely enough health. Wow, both of these players making clutch plays. And Ganon, of course, talking about his favorite breakfast cereal.
There is a point. I mean, it's still so close. Wild has to beat Ganon, and then it's done. Anything can happen. Like, one mistake costs the race for either runner.
Even with that red mail, Ganon does not do trivial amounts of damage. The Butter Sword certainly helps speed things up, though, so, like, he's in pretty good shape right now, but again, he doesn't have silver arrows, so he's gonna have to do the arrowless strats, and that is time-consuming. He needs to get 12 spin attacks off on Ganon while he's warping around here. Wild seeing
nice
that silver arrows were now in Ganon's tower, although I guess they couldn't be very many other places.
So, Ganon's going to require 12 spins. You can pretty much get 2 to 3 per cycle of the lamp. And that's why you really want the torch glitch when you do the arrowless strats, just because then you can only get 1 to 2 hits per cycle. Really cuts into your magic that way. gamercal almost up to Moldorm 2. It looks like he's about 3 minutes behind at this point.
Wild's looking pretty good here. He's having a great fight so far.
I mean, honestly, his life is good. The bad part would be getting hit with a magic bat and getting pushed into the pit. Like, that's the real thing that Wild has to worry about here. But this is a clean fight. He just beat Ganon, and we have our winner of this race.
That's right. WildAnaconda69 has finished the race with an SRL race time of 1 hour, 48 minutes, and 36 seconds. GG Wild. Awesome, awesome race.
Wow, what
awesome
a race.
Job.
I mean, here's gamercal. He's heading right into Aghanim now. He's going to finish within minutes.
I like these cape strats.
Yeah.
Through the mini Helmasaur room there, the bumper room.
Both disqualified. Well, he couldn't. He was in a race. I mean, good on gamercal. He was right there with Wild
nice
the whole time.
On Aghanim there. Almost gets another 3 hits. Nice Aghanim too.
Another quick one. Race invalid, do it again. Yeah, let's have an insta rematch. Get our runners back in here. Speaking of...
Hey, guys.
Good
Congratulations, Wild.
Oh,
we have
man.
Wild Anaconda, the victor of our race here. How you feeling?
Oh, dude, Hammer, though. And the worst part about it is I considered going into ice really early on, and then later on I was right in front of the entrance, and then decided, oh, I didn't check like those 3 items at like Hammer or Blacksmith, so I'll just go do that instead first.
we saw that.
We predicted that you'd be kicking yourself for that.
I was. And I don't know what happened with my internet at the end, but I was recording as soon as I started recording as soon as I could, if that's gonna be a problem.
No, I think you're okay. You play on console.
Yeah.
So,
but I had a recording going for when the stream went down.
gamercal right now is on the 3rd phase of Ganon. He was right on your heels the whole time. He actually went right first in Ganon's tower, which it almost would have paid off. And if he actually mirrored when he opened the last chest over on the right hand side, if he had continued, this would have been a lot closer. Like it was pretty much down to either mistake. Either of you make a mistake. So gamercal just beat Ganon. We have a dot done in the SRL chat with an official time of 1:51:08, less than 3-minute difference. That was a really close run. Good job, gamercal. That was a really great run.
Oh man, there were so many mistakes that I made, and I was like, hey, why did I do this? I gotta commit now because I've already, like, when I left pod without checking the big chest, I was like, in my mind, I was like, okay, there's still the map left or whatever. I don't need to check this. And then I forgot after I mirrored out and fluted away. I was like, oh no, it could be still there because the boss could have it. And so I was like, oh my god.
Well, you were wondering why you made that decision, because actually you had picked up the map already. I don't think you'd picked up the compass.
It was the compass. Yeah, whichever one it was.
But there were 2, there was still one available item. It ended up being a heart piece in that chest, but if that was the hammer, gamercal would have taken this one. Yeah.
I thought I had you there. I really did. I'll be honest.
Good race. That was well done, gamercal. You were right neck and neck the most run. gamercal, you were actually ahead for like the beginning half of the race. You had more crystals over Wild because he was scoping out some overworld locations. So you had a bit of an advantage, but Hammer trolled both of you for so long.
There's no way, there's no logical reason why you would go to Ice Palace before getting the hammer. There is absolutely no reason to go in there. That is the sort of gamble that I am no way going to take. And yeah, if I hadn't gone to pod 3 times, then, but I was in a dead end because I had no mirror and no hammer. That's almost unheard of when it comes to that place. Usually you would have the hammer going through there, so I'd have just been able to keep going after going down the basement bit. But no, when you don't have the mirror or the hammer, there's no way I'm trekking all the way back along that. That's far too long. But had I done that, and had I gone all the way around again, then I wouldn't have gone to pod 3 times in total, and I would have been left with no choice but Ice Palace earlier on.
As someone in chat said, Ice Hammer Troll.
Yeah.
It was so lame though that pod, like, that dungeon is super slow without mirror, and it was required to go there to get mirror.
Mm-hmm.
It was in the middle too. Yeah, sort of lucked out because you saved and quit as soon as you got the mushroom, just because you didn't have mirror and you don't want to have to go through it all again. If you didn't go back and went to ice instead, like this is what there were so many places which could have resulted in a 2-minute difference.
Yep.
Real quick, let's get our bonk guesses in for Wild, since that's coming up soon, and then a minute later, let's get gamercal's guesses in for the bot counts before that shows up.
Well, I can't be too upset for losing this one, even though that does remove me from the tournament, because honestly, this is one of those seeds where you had to check everywhere, and as it turns out, not being a speedrunner, although I think I put up a pretty good fight even despite that.
Oh,
definitely
you definitely did.
did.
You at gamercal, you were actually quite ahead for some time in this
And
race.
then
You were
Mirror
up
plus
2
Hammer,
crystals for a while in this race, but then the hunt for Hammer began and things were equalizing very quickly, and you both kept making basically the wrong gambles, like going into well, it might have been the right move, but I mean based on the locations in the game, like you went into Skull Woods, you checked the Sahasrara item, you went into Tower of Hera, you both did all these in different orders, and it was really interesting. Wild, interestingly, went for a gamble in Pod pretty early on and did luck out and grab that mirror.
Yeah,
so that
helped
helped a fair amount.
A lot.
But his routing with some of the mirror locations were still very difficult, just like because you guys
don't have Hammer
through most of the Dark World at that point.
Uh-huh.
It was bad for both of you, so it was really interesting to see.
I feel like I made there's only one mistake I feel like I actually made in this, and I believe I had the mirror when I went to check what was in the bumper cave or the cape cave, and I should have checked that position at that time, the graveyard one. That's the only thing that I'm honestly sort of forgetting, and I might just be misremembering that after the fact. I might not have even had the mirror when I checked that spot.
Yeah, I don't think you did. I think you went past when you were doing that. You didn't have mirror yet, because you got mirror
really late. I was like, well, there's nowhere else I can go right now.
Bonks for Wild. So now let's get your guesses in for gamercal, and let's see who wins. This is the ultimate test right here. Who won in bonk count?
I'm telling you now, I have less than 39 bonks. The last seed I had 39 bonks in is non-existent in recent times. Mid-20s is usually where I would go for. I'm gonna say 22 this time.
The real test is gonna be the in menu time, because I saw mine.
Yeah, that was 3:07. Very nice time.
I don't think I'm beating that.
That's an incredible. I think that's a PB for menu time for me. That's pretty good. And I felt as I was going through too, I felt like, man, I'm spending a lot of time in the menu. Some of my menus were really long, but I guess not.
You didn't have the mirror, so you weren't using that. That's for sure.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, that mirror. That's probably the worst seed in that aspect that I've played in a while. I've played some worse seeds than that in recent times, but just for the sheer mirror hammer thing, that is the worst. Because I had crystals 5 and 6 so early. I was like, right, I'm going to get those crystals now, because sooner or later I'm going to get the mirror. It's not that late normally, and I can check Fat Fairy at the time. And then, going through Thieves Town, fine. Misery Maya stuff, fine. I did it in that order, so I didn't have to say quit. That's okay. Going in Skullwood so I can get. Didn't remember it was Green Pendant, but I was like, well, this is a fast enough dungeon, and the amount of seeds I've had recently that have had something there, I'm gonna do it anyway. Bent Glass Tubes run with me actually had the hammer there, I believe, so that was I think my last item there too. So that was fine. Okay, not got anything here. Well, there's a lot of spots that are blocked by these two things, so there's only one place really left to go, and that's Palace of Darkness. Do I really want to go there? Okay.
Yeah,
well, I think we'll be pleasantly surprised on the bonk count here.
Little spoilers there. This run, there were a number of places that the seed just sort of led you to a certain location. You were led very early on to go beat Aghanim, and gamercal, you actually made the call early to go fight Aghanim. Wild decided to dip into Eastern for a bit and then come back out. So we have a bonk count for gamercal 36. So the winner in bonks.
36. That was 21 bonks off of that, and then
21
just over 3 minutes in the menu.
Wow. Wait,
it was 21. It was 21 bonks.
21 bonks. Yep.
Dude,
I don't normally bonk that often. Yeah.
You are 7 seconds off in item menu time. 3:14 versus Wild 3:07. Nice.
Shout outs to Pi.
This is so close for both of our runners here. So definitely kudos to both of our runners. Make sure you give them a follow. They, I think, earned it.
So in the end, I'm done in by the sea house in the run against Tifa, because I was clearly going to do that well in that one, and then I forgot one placement, and that's effectively what's taken me out here.
Just
Oh,
one
well.
place, and you kick yourself for it.
Yeah, well, I gave it the best shot I could in this one, and
That was an
really
amazing
pleased with that
race.
time. I'm pretty proud of that time, considering how ridiculous the placement was there.
I mean,
In any other circumstance, that would have been a 205 or a 210 easily. But
like, yeah, you nearly got a sub 150 with this awful seed where we pretty much had to check every location. So you should be pretty proud of this time, because it's not trivial to get, like, nearly like a sub 150 when you're checking every single location, basically. So that's...
And not only that, you guys were checking so many different locations from one another. I mean, you eventually basically checked everything that each other did. But before, you were both in Ice Palace at the same time, with Wild slightly ahead.
yeah,
But, like, wow, it was a really neck and neck race. Either of you could have found Hammer at any time. We were always looking for that one spot that you guys hadn't checked that was way off in a weird direction. Like, you guys both didn't do the graveyard mirror spot, because obviously you didn't get mirror for a while.
Yeah.
You didn't. There was the big chest in Palace of Darkness where I know Wild would have been kicking himself if the hammer was in there.
If
Those kind of
one-
moments made for an awesome race.
I also
I
made
have-
a really, I made a huge mistake when I mapped on the Light World Overworld the first time. I don't know how, but I somehow misread the map and thought that a crystal and Eastern had the pendant, and so I went and full cleared Hera and was like, oh, and then when the pendant dropped, I was like, wait, what? No. So
I full cleared it because I was thinking, well, as soon as I've got this mirror now, this is the obvious spot I couldn't go. I've been waiting to go up here all game to look at this because I've had Hammer and Aether. Hammer's been at Aether quite a few times, so I'm waiting all game for this. I need to go up there now because it's gotta be there, right? It can't be an Ice Palace, right? Right?
Yeah, right?
Oh dear. If I have one regret of the placement of where the hammer was in that dungeon, I was about to do the bomb jump over that pit, and then Hammer showed up in there, and I was like, oh dear God, let's go. But if I have one regret, I have a bomb jump to get across that pit, and that lets me check the item where the 2 jellyfish and that switch under the under the pot is. So, and then hookshot lets us go around the other way as normal. So if I have one regret, it's that I didn't get to show that off, because I sort of investigated that for a while and came up with a way of doing that, sitting in the top left corner and not even having to move with a bomb. So I didn't get to show that off in the end, but oh well.
Well, hey, GG though, man. Apparently, this seemed like a
Absolutely.
really good race. It was close.
It was super hype. We were all on the edge of our seats pretty much the whole time, especially when gamercal, you entered the right side of Ganon's tower. That was something.
I had 2 small keys. I was thinking, why not? I mean, I might not be too far ahead if I am, but if I'm not ahead, then why not? I should just take this. Most of the seeds I make myself. The key is in that location, so it's almost a shame I didn't follow through and just keep going in that direction at that point, but it would have been a bit of a waste as far as magic and such goes, because that place is difficult. The bridge breaking bit with the 2 fire bars.
Oh,
no,
yeah,
thank
absolutely.
you.
Yep. That's a horrible thing to go across. So, there is another race that's going on, Speed Gaming 2. I think it's going to start shortly, maybe within the next half hour. So I do recommend everyone to head on over to that. And I think there's going to be another race later on this channel, also starting around 6:30. So definitely stay tuned. Go into both of them. Watch both races at once.
Yeah, so there's a race starting in about half hour from now on this channel. And one starting, well, if they're according to schedule 2 minutes ago on Speed Gaming 2. So yeah, you've got a race starting here in about half an hour. You've got one already going on Speed Gaming 2. And then later tonight, you've got another race at 10 p.m.
Two races
Eastern.
at 10 p.m. Eastern time. We have Stray
Yeah, two
Varus
of them.
versus New Life and Dark Magician versus Futon. So some exciting races happening on Speed Gaming and Speed Gaming 2.
Definitely. We're getting some of the big names coming out now.
So
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
it looks like Speed Gaming 2, the race is on for over there. What is
Yeah,
that?
Mega
That's,
Kid Icarus versus EOD Tex. Definitely go
Yeah.
check that out. And then in about half an hour on this channel, we have Parisian Player versus Newbie 404. That should be a pretty exciting
really,
match.
really
too.
good. Both of those players are very good. Yeah, I mean, obviously we all know Parisian Player with his crazy fighter sword strats, but Newbie is one who I've played quite a bit in the police and such, and have been pretty competitive with. So, very good race that one.
So that was a very close race for you two. It's a shame to see you go, gamercal. But I think you're going to be doing some commentary, maybe.
I probably will. I think I'm going to take a little bit of a break from the stuff here because I've been playing this pretty much non-stop, playing or commentating it for a long time, and I do have some other things I should probably get back to on my stream, so I may not be around for the next like 2 or 3 days or so, but I will come back and do some commentary stuff here, definitely.
Awesome. Yeah, I know a lot of people have enjoyed your commentary and definitely your play. I mean, clearly by how close this race was, you guys are definitely some awesome players, and we appreciated the awesome races that you guys bring us. So awesome job. Make sure you guys are following both of these runners.
And follow the commentators too. I'm sure they did a fantastical job. I know both of these
Absolutely.
guys do great commentary, so make sure to follow these two guys, Jet and Alucard2004. I'm trying to get the...
And with that, I suppose we will be taking a bit of a break here on this channel until 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, where we'll have the next race here. But in the meantime, definitely go over to Speed Gaming 2, where we have another race for you. So I'm Alucard on commentary. Thank you guys for an awesome race. Jet, thank you for joining me.
Yeah, thank you. This was fun.
And we'll see you guys next mission.
Yep. See ya.